And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. On this, when we're doing it live on Wednesday night, a very, 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 very special guest, and he will tell you so. But before we get to him, let me thank our sponsors, ABC Tickets, anywhere in the world. They can get you tickets. Don't worry about service charges like the other ticket sites. The price is the price. And also Audi Devon. Great place, great vehicle, and great people. And there's some exciting new sponsors coming up in the next next week or couple of weeks. All right. And we will get in the show. I'm going to talk about, obviously, the Eagles losing players. The Sixers, something different about the Sixers that we haven't heard before. College basketball. But first, let me introduce our guest tonight, Warren Sapp. He's, let me see that I get everything in, and he'll tell me if I haven't gotten everything in. He's a Hall of Famer, 13 seasons, 7 Pro Bowls. He beat the Eagles a couple of times here, and we'll get into that. And he's now, as we're looking live, as Brent Musburger used to say, to Colorado, Warren Sapp. Hey, Genius, how are you tonight?
I am excellent, Howard, and I've heard a lot of intros in my day, and yours is at the bottom, my friend. Jeez almighty.
Well, wait a
You,
minute, wait a
you,
minute.
you, you mean, jeez, what
Did I
happened?
miss? Did I miss
Did you
anything?
get it? Did you get it all? Really?
Okay, yeah.
Really?
Okay. I mean, I know
How about
you've
how
done a
about how
lot in
about how
your.
about how about just defensive player of the year, 1999, and not one but 2 all-decade teams. The 5th first ballot defensive tackle ever. You want to know the other 4?
Well,
Since you
at the first ballot, I get that.
since you said I would toot my own horn because I buried him. We're talking about the QB killer, so now I can definitely talk about it. You
Wait
want to
a.
know the other 4?
Well, I know you won a Super Bowl,
No,
but you
no.
only.
You said that. I didn't say that. You missed the defensive player of the year. You only got a Super Bowl, Hall of Famer, and he beat the Eagles a couple times. We'll get into that. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, there's one. But
Okay.
you said
You
my
know
name
what?
before you even got to the resume. You're supposed to talk about the person and then give the people a chance to guess about who you're
Okay,
talking
well,
about.
I wanted to let people know who I was talking about first so they can get excited to hear all the wonderful things that you did in your career. Now, when you said you beat the Eagles twice, that's kind of
No, no,
interesting.
no, 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 no. You said I beat the Eagle a couple times. That's what you said.
Okay, well, I'm going to define
I
when you
can think
beat
of
them.
3 off the top of my head. That's more than
I
a
say, well,
couple,
the
right?
2 of them are interesting. It was the last game at the Vet, and you remind me about that all the time. The first game at the new stadium, Lincoln Financial Field.
A shutout,
Tampa won
a
both of them,
shutout,
and you were on
a
those teams.
shutout, a shutout. Goose egg on Monday Night Football when the world champion has to go on the road and celebrate their championship season on the road on Monday Night Football. Where they do that at?
Well, I'm telling you, you're like one of the all timers, and I know it is difficult to make the Hall of Fame the first ballot, and you did make the Hall of Fame
You
the
want to
first
know the
ballot.
other 4?
Yeah, who are the other 4?
Bob Lilly, Mr. Cowboy, Merlin Olsen, Little House on the Prairie, Father Murphy, Mean Joe Green, You Want My Coke, and Randy White, the Manster.
You know what? Randy White is one of the few defensive players that was a Super Bowl MVP too.
Yeah, him and Harvey Martin, they co-MVPs that year. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was who was a defensive
Richard
back for
Dent,
the Raiders?
Richard
Larry
Dent, Richard Dent,
Richard Dent. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
Richard
There's
Dent,
not
and
many.
then Larry Brown, yeah,
Yeah, Larry Brown.
and
Larry
then
Brown as
Von
well.
Miller. It's been a couple more since then.
Okay, so I want to get into what you're doing now, but before we do that, the NFL is crazy. Can you imagine how much money you would make today if you were in the NFL today? They paid a cornerback, a defensive back, $25 million. What was your highest number? What was the highest number you made in your career? Highest
6'6", I think.
6.6 million, which is chump change nowadays. That's a guy that rides the bench. Hey,
No,
hey,
that's a
last
guy that's a guy that's not in the league because they're giving $20 million to dudes you can't pick out of a lineup. I mean,
well,
it's unreal.
I think the Eagles paid Devin White about that last year, and he didn't play a second for the team.
Like I said, that guy didn't play.
It's incredible. You would have made easily $25 million a year, right? I mean,
Hey,
easily.
listen, I had a bus in Ohio. I have a statue in Tampa, and my name sits in three NFL stadiums, and one of them is on a Saturday afternoon. So I'm good, Howard. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good because
All right.
I always do this because people always say, "Well, Aaron Donald won 5 times the player you were, Sapp. He made $30 million a year." I said, "Well, I wasn't 6 times the player that Joe Green was, and he only made $1 million, and I made six." So it's all relative, So it's just hold on to your hats and
What
get your bet on and get your fantasy football on and enjoy the game that we love.
What do you like or dislike about and I know you're in college and I want to get to that.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's a new career and you told me yesterday it was exciting for you. What is it that you like or dislike about the NFL right now?
they don't tackle. I mean, the game is always going to be blocking and tackling, and they don't tackle anymore. How many times have you seen the running back? I mean, I got this one for you. How you jump over somebody backwards? Salute you, Saquon. I mean, salute you, son.
Okay, I
You did
thought
it.
you were dissing Saquon there.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about the defender. I, shit, I do whatever you want to them if they gonna allow it. And you know my rule. Give me 10 other brothers that say not today, and I'll give a damn if you got Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Rich Gannon, the two-time MVP over there, Charlie Gardner in the backfield, and a whole bunch of other cast of characters. Jolly at tight end. No, not today.
And why do you think that's the case that players don't, and the Eagles practice that, but so does every team. Why do you think the players don't tackle the way they should in today's game?
Because they have turned tackling into something that's almost physically impossible. Because if I come at you, Howard, and you're a moving target, and I go same shoulder, same foot, I don't go. They don't go head across the bow anymore. You know what I'm saying? Rip, rap, grab, cloth. That ain't it. They don't. They want you to take your head out of the tackle. So taking your head out of the tackle, and you talking about going up against King Henry and Saquon Barkley, who's got a full head of steam. If you ain't stopping his momentum going across him, you're not about to tackle him.
So, in other words, the rules have helped in the lack of good tackling or have
Oh, I
assisted in the lack.
mean the opening up of the game because the middle of the field used to be the most precious real estate around, and you had to circumnavigate that
Yeah, well,
thing. I mean, they run through the middle with their hand up now. It's unbelievable. I'm like, whoa. So
guys don't wrap up anymore. And I know you
no, they
had.
never wrapped up. I mean, it was always about the big hit and sending somebody flying. But you know, the fundamentals of the game are lacking, and the practice is lacking. But the pay is through the roof, and we got to enjoy the scoring. I mean, that's what's happening. You need 30 points now to win a football game.
Okay, most of the time now, the edge rushers or the linebackers who have really become edge rushers are the sack guys. It's rare that you find a defensive tackle that gets the number of sacks that you got. And I think you had 98. Did you have 98?
96 and a half.
96. Okay, 96 and a half sacks. It's why is the defensive tackle not the sack the sack guy as much as they used to be?
Because for seven of my 13 years, people always called me a nose tackle, a nose guard, because that's what we had built the game around. Was people like Ted Washington, the grave digger, big old guys in the middle, because we used to run the ball at the A gap in 38 lead. But then Chris Carter, Jake Reed, and Chris Carter showed up in Minnesota, and it was three deep, and everybody was looking for that third receiver. And then Ricky Pro would show up on third down, and then you had to play a game that was about skill, and then it became skill, and they opened it up. And for me, I Tony Dorsett was my favorite, and he said that he had a game that if you sat your grandmother down and watched him play, she'd
Hmm.
smile the whole time. So I took on that persona in my game. So I had to make plays because everybody come to see the quarterback. How That's how I became the QB killer.
That's another nickname you had. All right. The other thing that, and people may or may not remember, when you were drafted, everybody thought the Eagles were going to take you. I think they had the eighth pick in the first round,
Seventh.
the seventh pick. Okay. And they didn't take you because you tested positive for
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
marijuana.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Is
Let's
that
30 years,
incorrect?
30 years later, you're not gonna say allegations or internet shit because you know you don't have no proof of this. So be
No,
very
no.
careful
Okay,
with your
well,
words.
but
Be
I'm just
very
saying.
careful 30 years later with your words, Howard, right now.
Okay, yeah, but it's not a big deal.
Yo,
It
the fuck
wasn't.
is not when you sitting here in my face 30 years later. I have children now that are 16 years old, Howard. Be
Okay,
very careful with your
okay,
words right now, Howard.
okay. So why didn't the Eagles? Listen, I love you.
Listen, you've been living in the Eagles for all those years. The clock went off. I kicked your ass plenty of times. My first
Yes, you
game out in the
did.
NFL. So let it go. They didn't pick me, so
No, but
what?
you, yeah, but they missed a Hall of Fame tackle, and they took.
Okay.
And Mike
Yeah,
Mamula's a
I
great
got it. I
guy,
got it.
but Mike Mamula wasn't even
And we
close.
drafted me and Derek Brooks. Yeah, you can tell the story without tainting my name or defaming me, Howard.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying to you.
yeah, but there was a reason that they didn't take you, and that was the
And
reported
that's not the
reason.
reason. I didn't take 7 drug tests when I was at the University of Miami. You act like I was at fucking Podunk in Iowa somewhere. I was at the
Hey, listen,
University
I
of
didn't try to get you
Miami.
pissed off
No, no,
here.
no, 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 no. Listen, your words matter, Howard, and it's 30
Okay,
years later.
you never
When you're
tested
talking,
positive. Okay,
no, 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 no. See what I'm talking about?
no, now wait a minute. I'm trying to clarify why
I
the
don't need
Eagles.
to relitigate it if you're gonna sit here and talk about shit you don't even know what the facts are.
Okay, all right, and then I just.
Thank you.
It would have
Thank
been
you.
better
That's
if you
all I'm
were
telling
affiliate.
you.
It
That's
would have
all
been.
I'm telling you. Unless
It's
you want to get to the nitty gritty and you got some facts you want to tell me 30
no,
years
but
later, move on.
okay, but it would have been better if the Eagles had taken you.
Oh, you could have got to that without all of that other shit you was talking
Okay,
about.
well,
But
yeah, but then so why don't you think they took you? That's you were a
I'm
better
not a
player.
Philadelphia Eagle. I'm not,
Okay,
never been in their organization. I just show up at the vet and whoop your ass and go get me a
you
championship.
did sure you
And
did.
30 years later, you're still mad about it. And I don't understand why.
No, I'm
But
not
I get
mad.
it. I get it.
Other people might be. All right, who is the
Evidently,
quarterback?
evidently,
Who is the quarterback that
he
you'd
beat the
most?
Eagles a couple times, and we'll get into that. Okay.
Who is the quarterback you most like to kick their ass? Which
The next
quarterback
one.
was it?
The next one.
The next one? Is that what you said? The
You
next
you
one. So
do
there
you
wasn't
do
any.
hear English. What a beautiful thing. You do understand English.
Yes, I
Un
do.
poquito habla español, mi hermano.
All right. Well, I sometimes there's a quarterback that people just. It's like Tom Brady. You want to get to Tom Brady because he was the best. You wanted to get to Joe Montana because he was the best.
Listen, what you and normal people consider what they go about their life with is a beautiful thing. So live that life. But for me, it was the next one because I had already conquered that one. What
Okay.
made that one so special?
I don't know.
I had 6 sacks in the playoffs, one in the Super Bowl, sack calls from them. It was no more. Come on.
So it didn't matter. It's as long
No,
as you did
no,
it.
no. It definitely
No, it
mattered.
matters, but it
It
didn't matter
mattered, but
who it
it was
was.
no more special than my first.
Okay. All right.
It was the next one. You
It's
understand? You understand?
yep.
The next challenge.
Okay.
The next challenge. The next one.
All right. You are a guy that's
They all
very
taste
out.
like chicken, Howard. They
I,
all taste like chicken.
Uh, you're a guy that's very outspoken, and we've experienced that right here. But Brandon Graham before a game would, when you're out there with the coin toss and all that other stuff, he would kind of try to irritate the other team. And then during the game, he would have a lot of lip. Were you a guy that tried to get to the other player uh, with what you said and just try to take their mind off the game?
No, my play did all the talking I needed to do.
So you just went out there and kicked their ass. Is that what you're going to tell me?
I did a little talking to the quarterback, but there's no reason to talk to linemen. They're not very bright.
They're not? So wait a minute. So you're saying the defensive line or the offensive line are not very bright?
The guy that I'm whooping,
Yeah.
because normally Brandon Graham would be talking to the opposite side, right?
Yeah.
So why would I be talking to the same side?
Okay. All right. I wanted to try to clarify that. That's all. All right. Now I'm
I
going
thought
to
it was
get to.
pretty clear. I think you're the one that's a little lost in this conversation.
Well, no, 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 no. I'm just trying to. Hey, listen, I got something.
I'm
You
talking to
straighten it
the D
out for me.
line. I'm talking
You
to the
you
D line.
you straighten something out for me already. So, and that's what you're here for. All right. when
They
you
do
were at
they
the
do call me coach now, so I do a little teaching. So
you are a coach, and I really do want to get into that because you know what? I know you know the game and you could teach guys, but the thing um, that you were good at a lot. Obviously, you were good at a lot of things, and when you went out at the University of Miami, and you remember those years. What was the year? Well, it was '88. That was before you got there. The Catholics versus Convicts game at Notre Dame, and
yeah,
I was there at that.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, okay. So, but Miami was always considered the bad guys, just because you were better. The players at the University of Miami were at the U were always better. That was an era in football, and I have said this, and I'll say it to you. It's the best. You can give me Alabama all you want. You can give me all that nonsense.
Hey
They did
man,
not have the
it was a
best.
good time to watch college football. I was in college dreaming about playing with them. So I fully understand what you're talking about. There were some bad boys that did some nasty things on the football field, boy. I mean, Benny Blaze was my favorite because ain't nothing like coming off the hash and lighting somebody up. Maurice Crum sitting in the middle. I mean, Jesse Armstead. I mean, it was everything you wanted. And Randall Hill coming out the tunnel, shooting it up in the Cotton Bowl. They had 17 penalties, 179 yards worth of penalties, and still won the game 46-3. Yeah. Yeah, the 90 Cotton Bowl. Yeah. I was a junior in high school that year. So
Well, but the late '80s and the early '90s, let's say 6 years, roughly 6 years of college football, the U was the best era of college football ever, I think, in my lifetime.
it
And
goes a
it's,
little deeper than that. It goes from 83 to 91.
they lost to, didn't they? Oh, they lost to Vinny Testaverde. What in '80? Was it '82? They lost to Vinny Testaverde. No, Vinny Testaverde was a
No,
year.
Vinny
He lost
lost
to
in the
Penn.
Fiesta Bowl in
He lost
'86
to
to
Penn
Penn
State.
State.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
83. It's 83 to 91. That's the years. It's more than
So
six.
okay, so
Yeah.
that was the best year in college football. Is there a reason that players and you? Well, you were from Florida. Is there a reason that players went to the U? But now they pay guys. So, but
No, the thing about it was because we didn't have a luxurious facility or anything like that. I mean, we had
right.
Muscle Beach, we called it. It was a little hole in the wall rate room, and we went out there and got it done, and walked out on Green Tree and racked it every day and said 12-0 because we were about perfection. And if you were coming to Miami, that's all you were bred is perfection, and you were gonna get it done, and it wasn't gonna be given to you. You was gonna work for it. Nobody was anointing anything at Miami. Everybody worked for their spot in Miami, so. It was a dog eat dog world.
I'm telling you, and the players were fun. I mean, the fun to see the guys dancing. I was down here for a lot of games. Guys dancing on the sidelines.
They
You
was
know,
clowning. They was clowning. Yeah.
they had some attitude, boy. They really had some attitude. Michael Irvin, another one of those guys that had attitude. It's good. I'm telling you, you got to love that. And now the coach. I don't know. Jimmy Johnson was a great coach. Dennis Erickson, not as good, but he obviously
Hold
was
on,
one of
hold
the
on, hold on,
coaches
hold
for
on,
that.
hold on, hold on. 63-9, not as good.
Who, Dennis Erickson?
Yeah, that was
Do
his
you
record.
think
60,
Dennis Erickson was as good as
63 and
Jimmy
9.
Johnson? You think Dennis?
I'm an Erickson guy all day long and twice on Saturday, my friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You
I
got to.
listen. I got along with Dennis too. I mean, Jimmy and
You just downgraded him like he wasn't on the
no, but I
level with
don't
Jimmy.
think he was as good. If you had to take a poll of
I ain't
football
talking about a
people,
poll. The poll is between you and I, and we got 50-50, 1-1. So there it is. Go on.
okay,
Next.
all right, all right, all right. But nonetheless, there was some really good coaches, and it seemed like they had both those guys had the players under control. Like Nick Saban has an iron
No such
fist with.
thing. No, 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 don't go there. Ain't no such thing as control. We had an understanding that from 3 to 6, your ass was his on the practice field. Anything outside of that, don't kill nobody. That's basically what we were told at the University of Miami.
Okay, so now you're an assistant coach for those people that are unaware, and I'm sure a
I'm the
lot of people.
pass rush coordinator. You see that PRC right there on your screen? I'm the
Yeah,
pass
pass
rush
rush
coordinator.
coordinator for the
Yeah.
University of Colorado. Okay, under Deion Sanders. How did that come about? I mean, you're both from Florida. I get that part of it.
All
How did
right,
that come
all right, all
about?
right. It was Dion and me love to fish, and he has a ranch out that he calls Prime. Lake Prime and everything, the luxuries, acres and everything he has out there is nothing but a country Florida boy out in the woods, and he has a lovely spot out there. And I just kept telling him I was going to come and go fish with him. So I finally had an autograph session out there with him, and he was coming to the autograph session too. So I told the guys that was getting him there, I said, make sure I don't miss him. And he was like, well, he's going to be here first thing in the morning. I'm like, and he was like, no, real early. I'm like, what's real early? They were like, I think like 6, 7. I'm like, that's not early. So I went down and jumped in the car with him and took off and went back to the house to go fishing. That's when he got the offer from Jackson State. And he
Hmm.
said, when you going to come join me? I'm like, nah, I'm not coming to Mississippi. He's like, come on, big fella. I'm like, I'm not coming to Mississippi. So when he brought his team down to play FAMU, I came and spoke to his team, and I saw his D-line coach over there cursing and not coaching. And it struck my soul how I said, no way this is going down. So I started the process of getting my degree at that point. So it took me a while, and nothing extravagant or anything. I just had to do some work because I was a little lazier than I thought at the University of Miami. So
Well,
I had to buckle down, go back to school. So I went back to school, got my paperwork, and by this time he had Colorado at this point, and he called me and he said, I just want you to come visit with my D line. And I'm like, all right. So I came out to see him, did the TO and, every other superstar that come through here, go look. But I know my man. So me and him had a conversation. So long story short, my hip was bothering me, and all of a sudden I'm in the hot tub and I got the whole D line surround me. And they're grabbing at me like a shark, like biting, grabbing for information, just going out. And I just smiled to myself and I said I had no idea I could even dream of being in this situation, but oh my God, do I want it. So I went and finished it up, and he offered me the spot, and I went, and the rest is history. But it ain't been a year, but I mean, it's just almost been a year. April 1st will be a year that I came here.
did you ever think that you were going to be a coach?
I just told you nothing in my wildest dreams. I always said that they spent more time at the job than I did, and I love my job. Right, I was there at 7 in the morning, and I didn't leave until 6. So
All right, Dion's an intense guy. You're an intense guy. Uh, in college, you can get players to respond to that. Uh, was it easier to get players to respond, especially with you two guys there? And I don't know who the other coaches are, but both you guys are intense guys. Is it hard to get the players to respond to that?
would you say both of us are fun guys?
Yeah, I think you are. Yes, I know you are. I don't know. I don't know Neon Dion,
I
but
promise you something about Neon Dion, Prime Time, 21 and 99. We are dads first. When you're a dad first, you understand that each one of your children are distinctly individualized and different from each other, just like each player that you will encounter. So you can't cookie cut them. So you got to be able to touch them in a very personal way. And I think
Mhm.
we do a very good job of that. So that's the one thing that, intense is about, because you got to work. We come from an era where it's $3.35 an hour.
Well,
and, I,
and
hey, I got $32 a weekend to do that work I put out at the University of Miami. So listen, and we're talking about a whole nother era right now. So you would need somebody to be intense, because once you come out of 18 to 22-year-old, the real world is not about to suffer you, Howard. You
mhm.
need to have some real conversation with these young men, and we're having them. So hey, it's an everyday grind, and each one of them's different, and it's a lovely situation I'm in, and I'm excited about it every day that I wake up. I really am.
Okay, okay, the NIL is changing college football. Colorado years ago probably couldn't compete in that area with money. Now, I'm sure you have backers because you've now Colorado's reached another level. How difficult is it to get players when teams in the SEC, and especially the SEC, they pay so much money to these guys? And I know the quarterback, Deion Sun, last year got a lot of money, but I don't know what the other guys got. But how difficult is it to compete? It's not just recruiting anymore. It's not just Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. It's not Hall of Famer Warren Sapp. It's other things, and it's money. And then to keep the players, the transfer pool. I don't know how many players Colorado may have lost where players decided to go somewhere else to get more money. How difficult is it to number one, get the players with that, and then keep the players.
See, that's that real conversation that you have when you bring somebody in and you put the proper expectations on them. And I'm so glad I don't get into the money side of it, Howard. And I got a question for you.
Sure.
NIL is name, image, and likeness, correct?
Yep.
How many commercials you saw in Philadelphia with one of those college kids on it?
I haven't seen it, but we don't have major. We don't have major college football in Philadelphia.
No, but you have a nice big audience up the East Coast that somebody
I
would
know.
love to tap
I don't know
into,
what
right?
it is. I mean,
And with a
Temple
lot of
plays
eyes and a lot of money that like to buy nice things. Look at that blazer you got on, my good man. You
and
know what I'm
what
saying? I
custom
know
made
it. I know, I
Maroney
know, I
custom.
know. Huh? I know it's custom. Come on, baby. Come on. You cat daddy. I don't mess with you with your wardrobe. I'm telling you what the Philly market would bring to somebody. And if you had somebody that you wanted to put your product out that was on a national level like that, you don't see the commercials like that, Howard. Trust me. It's
Well,
not that.
they don't have the I guess the alumni. Really, Temple's the only really major college football program in the area. Villanova's not Division One, and
No,
Temple
no.
plays in less than 10,000 people. They
I
play
know.
in front of
I
less than.
listen. I played Temple many times over in the Ovet, so it wasn't, But the thing about it is just not because if you didn't see Deion Sanders with his kids on a KFC commercial, when
No,
did you see it? When
no.
you heard about Bijan Robinson down at the University of Texas and the Lamborghini deal, what did you think then? Like, how
Well,
does a 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-old kid help you sell a $500,000 car, right? He doesn't. It's just about the relationship that the guy at the Lamborghini dealership wants.
all right. Have you lost? I saw a statistic where in the
Uh-oh.
transfer portal, a lot of the major schools, because they go to other places to get more money, because I guess they have so many good players, have lost about 25 to 30% of their players pretty much almost in the last 2 years. That's not a good thing because players can, you're a free agent every year. How difficult is it to keep? Now, Dion kept the quarterback because it was his son, but how difficult is it to keep players with that transfer portal and know they can go
You know
somewhere
what?
else?
Call me in about 2 years, and I'll let you know. I'm just at year one.
Okay.
I've yet to run into that issue where some of my defensive linemen want to leave my room.
All right. All right.
I'm a guy I think you want to be around, Howard. I might know a little something about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, you know a little bit, just
Okay.
just
Okay.
a little bit.
All right.
I want to touch on the Eagles. They won a Super Bowl. You saw, I think their defense. Jalen Carter did a terrific job. Uh, their defensive line, their secondary. They have two really good rookies, as you I'm
No,
sure
no, no,
know.
no. You can't start talking about the Philadelphia Eagle championship team and you're not talking about that offensive line. What's
Well,
wrong
I
with you?
was getting to that.
Come on.
Okay.
You
No,
got to
no, no,
start with that. The game
no way.
starts
But
up
the
front,
offensive
Howard.
line's the
The,
best
the,
in
the
football.
offensive, the offensive, the offensive line, the game starts up front.
Okay. Here's
If you
what
can
I've said.
control the line of scrimmage and you can put pressure on the other team's quarterback, your odds of winning a football game just went up to around 70%. I
Exactly.
guarantee you. And the
And
only thing that can derail that is if you throwing interceptions or turning the ball over.
and listen, I have said, and first of all, the Eagles has always tried to build offensive and defensive lines. But I said in the Super Bowl, and it was Zach Bond played a great game, but the defense was the MVP. The offensive line was the MVP, and the quarterback always get. Jalen Hurts played really well, really well, but the quarterback always gets the MVP. But without those two things, and I have said this publicly before we even spoke, if the Eagles didn't have the play from their defensive line, rushing the quarterback without many blitzes, actually, I don't think they had more than two, and the offensive line protecting the quarterback and helping Saquon Barkley get to the second level, they don't win the Super Bowl. They don't win the Super Bowl. They made Patrick Mahomes look silly. So I think those two areas, somebody there had to be the MVP, and not taking away anything from Jalen Hurts. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I enjoy yourself, Howard.
It's what?
I say enjoy yourself, Howard. You said a mouthful.
All right. So, where do you think the most valuable part of that football team was for the Super Bowl? I'll ask you the question.
What do you mean? Are you sitting here questioning who they gave the MVP, the Super Bowl
They gave
MVP
the
to?
MVP to Jalen. They always give it to the quarterback.
So why are we sitting here having this discussion then?
Well, yeah, but
2 months
who do
later.
you think was the most important?
Wait
The
a
most.
minute. Come on. What are we talking about in football? I had a guy pick off 2 passes and run them back for touchdowns in my Super Bowl. And they gave the MVP to the guy that had 2 interceptions and had about 6 yards in return yards. What are you talking about? Come on.
Listen,
Come
the
on.
writers. It's usually the writers that
Come
vote on
on,
that. So you
man.
have that.
So you need to go see the writers, man. I'm not, and if the city of
No, no,
Philadelphia don't
no.
give a
I'm
damn
not. Hey, listen, I'm
what
not
I think,
complaining.
they get
Hey,
the
wait a minute.
quarterback. I got this for you. I know
I'm
this.
not complaining.
No,
Just
no,
keep.
no.
I'm
I
not
know
complaining.
this. I know this. The quarterback always gets way more blame and way more credit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't disagree with that a little bit. So if you were the commissioner of the league, and that'll never happen, we both know that. If you were the commissioner of the league, what would you do to help or change the game?
I think they've done a good job of a league that's over 100 years old. And the tweaking and whatever they're gonna do should be more than just one man making a call or an executive decision. It should be a committee, and I think they have enough of those going around where they're gonna try to do the right thing. And I I have no problem with my Sunday afternoon football. Do you?
Well, I don't like the way they don't. They've changed the way you can tackle, and I know they're worried about injuries. They've changed the way a defensive back can guard a wide receiver or defend a wide receiver. They've changed the
What did
kickoff
wait, wait,
rule.
wait, 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 wait. What did they change about the pass interference rule?
Well, you can't even come close to touching the wide receiver.
I mean, they open the game up. You got to not use your hand and
So
use
in
your
other words,
leverage
they
and
want to
move your
put.
feet. And
Well,
move your feet. You still bitching about that one play, that one Super Bowl. He grabbed him. You can see his jersey being grabbed. Come on, y'all. Come on. Jesus, you lost to us. You still bitching. You lost in another Super Bowl. You still bitching. And you're the champion.
no,
So
no.
when is the bitching stop in Philadelphia? You know what? Go have a
Wait a
cheeseburger.
minute.
I gotta go.
Hold on.
I'm going to dinner. Are we good?
Hold on. That is wrong. And I want to give you. I will say this. Didn't you,
What was
Dwayne
wrong?
John?
No, no, no. You said that was wrong. So what was wrong?
What? I just don't agree that you should allow. You should allow. They want more offense, but you shouldn't take away the skills and the ability of the defensive players.
So when
That's
I
my.
give you the inside move on a jerk route and I come back out of and you bit the inside and you grab my jersey on the way out, that ain't holding is what you're saying, Howard. You should be able to grab him and slow him down.
No, no, no. It is
Is that
holding.
what you're saying, Howard?
Yeah.
You
Well, you
still haven't
grab.
gotten over that play, Howard? And
Yeah.
you're the champion now. Jesus.
All right. I will give you props. Dwayne Johnson's a star, The Rock. Didn't you replace him in first string? Didn't you move
No,
him out
no,
of
no.
first?
There was never a depth chart with Dewey above me. I've made this more than clear too many times. You've
Okay.
been around the University of Miami when Greg Mark was there. If
Yep.
Greg Mark was the coach, you have direct sources to this, Howard. Why do you follow this
Well,
tabloid
wait a
thing?
minute. I'm just going by
I'm on my
what's
way to dinner right
reported.
now. Are
I'm
we
just
good?
going.
Are we good now?
Yeah. You
Is
know
another
what?
fact you got dead wrong, and you have Greg
Well,
Mark, your
no.
closest.
I'm asking
No,
you.
your research department really sucks.
It's not my
Really sucks.
research department. It's what's reported. It's what I
What? No, no,
what
no.
I
What?
see.
Well, no, no. Who reported it?
I saw it on the internet.
Goodbye.
Hey, I love you. I love you. He's, he is, he is beyond a beauty. He is beyond a beauty. Would you believe we're friends? He is beyond a beauty. You're the best. You're the best. Warren Sapp. He's the best. Hey, listen, they ought to take his tongue out too. What do you say? He was going to the dentist? Who goes to the dentist? Well, actually, it's 2 hours earlier in Colorado. Who goes to the dentist at this time of the night? I mean, give me a break. Somebody ought to pull his tongue out. But that's all right. I love Warren Sapp, and he was a great player. Great, great player. All right, there's some things I want to discuss about with the Eagles. Certainly, something different with the Sixers. And college basketball. I don't know that I love it the way it's going. I don't know that I love college sports the way it's going these days. But we'll get to that, and we'll get back. And again, thanks to the people that help us with this program and sponsorships, ABC Tickets, Tickets you can get all over the world. And if you want to get a car, it's better that you get an Audi. And Audi Devon is one of the better dealerships, certainly in the area. Some exciting new sponsors will be coming up soon, and we'll tell you about them in the next week or so. We have a lot to discuss, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Talking to Warren Sapp, and I knew it'd be challenging to talk to Warren Sapp. I knew it would be challenging. I knew it would be challenging. I did know it, but I want to get you, the people, to be a part of the program. So we're going to put out a link, and you can join I'll call you callers, because I don't know, pod callers, whatever. If you have some questions, please feel free, and we will be back in seconds. And welcome back to the Howard Eskin Show. I'll tell you, I knew Warren Sapp would just be outrageous. Hey, listen, I'm only rolling out there, but and I remember, well, I don't want to get in the draft. He says that was wrong. I don't really care what he was doing. He was the better player. He should have been taken at number 7 back in that draft. And the Eagles missed out. But as it turns out, Mike Muller's a great guy, but he wasn't the same player as Warren Sapp. All right, let's get into the Eagles stuff. The Eagles have lost players, which I know have started to concern people. Kenny Pickett, nobody worries about. He's a backup quarterback, and I think Tanner McGee is a better backup quarterback, so they're fine there. Darius Slay, they lost him. I think they're fine there. I mean, Darius Slay is 34 years old, and I think he was a better defensive back this year because the pass rush, I think, was better. I don't have a problem with that. Josh Sweat, they certainly have to replace him, but with Josh Sweat, they will get probably a compensatory pick, which would be a 3rd-round pick. Isaiah Rodgers, I like Isaiah Rodgers, and I really like him as a defensive back. He can do a lot of things on special teams. I really do like him, but obviously they're comfortable with players that they have right now and players that they may draft. And what they're going to do, they have so many picks. I think they have 13 draft picks right now. And the reason they stockpile the draft picks, the Eagles stockpile them, is because they can use them in trades to move up. So they will not use all 13. There's no way they can use all 13 picks. But so I miss Isaiah Rodgers a little bit. I think he's a nice player. Milton Williams, obviously he needs to be replaced. I think they will miss him. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I think in C.J.'s case, he's had some injuries. He's kind of I don't want to say he's crazy. I don't want to term him crazy. But you gotta, I think, you know, you had to worry about him because he's out there. He's out there, and they'll find a way to replace him as long as they have the pass rush they have. Jalen Carter does his job. Jordan Davis takes another step up. They get and they have edge rushers. They get somebody to replace Josh Sweat, which I think, in some way, shape, or form, they will do. I have confidence the Eagles will be okay. And I know there's a lot of people that are worried. They lost all these players on defense, but all these players, or most of these players, I think can be replaced. The problem when you win, well, there's no problem when you win a Super Bowl because you've won a Super Bowl. So, but the problem when you win a Super Bowl is players are going to be offered a lot more money. I mean, Josh Sweat got more money. If the Eagles didn't win a Super Bowl, he would have never gotten that contract. Never gotten that contract from Arizona. But teams have to overpay with what they see off of that. Teams that win Super Bowls, and this is a fact, lose 15 to 18 players off that Super Bowl team. And there's just no way. There's just no way you can keep all those people. You can't pay them, and they're going to have to pay. Well, they're going to have to pay Jalen Carter. They're going to have to pay Jordan Davis, and I think the fact that he's taking another step up, he will be paid. They're going to have to pay their two defensive backs. They're going to have to pay Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. There's players that they've got to pay. I don't know what Nolan Smith's market will be, but you got to understand they're going to be paying a lot of players. They're going to be paying a lot of players that they already have on their roster. So you got to get over it. Dallas Goedert will be an interesting situation. I will miss if they trade Dallas Goedert, and I think he's coming up on the last year of his contract. I will trade or I wouldn't trade Dallas Goedert. Would not trade Dallas Goedert. But I'm not the Eagles. I want him for one more year. I don't think they can get a tight end as good, but you still do worry. You actually really do worry about his. You really worry about his health, and that's the thing. It's just you worry about his health. You really worry about his health, and that's unfortunate that those players have to be traded. But so it is what it is. So whatever. I would hate to see him go. All right, I'm checking out. I got I got something. Just checking out a text. If there's something I wanted to pass along, but the 76ers. There's new. I listen. Joel Embiid put out a tweet tonight. I mean, here's a guy that is not playing, and apparently he's worried about his soccer team. But whatever. I don't really care about that. The Sixers story obviously is more horrible signings. We know that. And when the Sixers, how about this? When the Sixers tried to lose at the beginning of the Josh Harris era and the Scam Hinkie era, when they tried to lose, they raised ticket prices every year. Now all of a sudden, they announced 19,000 and change at the game. There's no way there's 19,700 people at those games all the time. There's just no way. And don't tell me the tickets are sold, because the Sixers are putting tickets on the ticket sites, and the tickets are selling for $2, and people still aren't buying them. So, but they're telling the pricing is ridiculous, and they've told season ticket holders no price increase for the next 2 years. I guess that means, number one, they're overpriced, and number two, they know they're not going to be good for a couple of years. We have somebody that wants to join the program. All right, let's go for it. What's that say? GM. GM.
Are they there?
GM, what'd you do? You get scared? You know, you can turn the camera off if you're afraid to be on camera.
Oh, they left.
They left, I guess. You know what? Sometimes, and I will say this to people: there's a function. If you don't want to be on camera and you just want to talk to me, we'll put up a full screen. You can turn the camera off if you don't want people to see who you are, or maybe his internet lost a line, but whatever the case. All right, I'm going to get back to the 76ers. Telling the season ticket holders, what does that mean? They've told the season ticket holders that they're not going to raise prices for 2 years. Okay, we have somebody back on the. We have another one on the line.
We have AJ.
Okay, AJ. Hey, AJ, what's happening?
Hey, Howard, how are you?
I'm terrific. I'm terrific. I weathered my way through Warren Sapp, but I knew that, and we're friends. So, and outside of that, I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good.
I think we got a couple of guys on here.
What's that? I lost you there, AJ. Is it his internet or is it us?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're on.
It sounds like there might be somebody else on as well. But regardless, yeah, that was interesting there with Sapp, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's who he is. But that's all right. But I know Sapp. I've known him believe it or not, I've known him for 32 years. It's crazy. You don't realize it's that long. But what's up? What's up, AJ?
He might be getting like an audio loop.
Oh, you might be getting me later.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of delay thing going on here.
Okay, well, just tell me what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I was just going to talk real quick about the Phillies and see. Sure.
You're hearing yourself later.
I am. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I was just going to talk about the Phillies, and actually, before we even get to that, I was just wondering your opinion on Jared McCain and what sort of difference might it have made if he didn't get hurt. A lot of people are making a big deal out of the fact he was hurt, but I don't really see the Sixers, that is, being that much better, regardless of whether or not he got hurt.
Okay, let me tell you. Here's where I have a little bit of not a problem. I mean, McCain can shoot, but he can't defend. But how do you play McCain and Maxey at the same time when you have two small guards? So I know defense is not something they like to do, but I don't know how they can play together. I just don't think they can. I don't think they can play together, and that's a problem. He's a bench player. So I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, he was scoring a lot of points, and they were giving you all that Rookie of the Year nonsense. He only played 15 to 20 games, so that was a little bit over the top. I don't know. I don't know that you can have both of them on the team. I don't know that you can have both of them on the team. I think one of them, and I hate to, you can't trade Maxey. You cannot trade Maxey. But whatever. So I'm sorry for a little bit of a technical issue there where he was probably hearing himself later. But anybody that wants to join. But I want to just finish up with the Sixers. So when they tell season ticket holders that there'll be no price increase for 2 years, does that mean that they don't think they're going to be good for 2 years? The tickets, why don't you give them a reduction? That's just my thought. Give them a reduction because they've overpaid for the tickets for at least the last 2 years. Now, I want to play something. Daryl Morey, who I think is one of the all-time frauds and con men in the NBA, made a comment on a podcast. See, he doesn't talk to the media. He makes a comment on the podcast, and AJ just said, no worries. AJ, it was nice to have you on, and next time that you call, we'll make sure everything's okay. But thanks for calling. Daryl Morey made a comment on a podcast, and if you listen to the end of it, first of all, you listen to it, he talks about how It makes it sound like everything was great. And then at the end, he criticizes the Philadelphia fans. Let's hear. Do we have that ready? Let's hear.
All right, here we go.
Let's hear from Daryl Morey.
We then lost a close game at home, which was very frustrating. And then we had a very bad loss in Game 7. And, it's a little bit similar to the LeBron Michael Jordan argument. Objectively, people should feel better about that than the next season. We had a very entertaining Knicks series, like almost famously entertaining. I think it was voted best series that year. And for me, it was just stressful, but for everyone else, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was very stressful. And we lost in 6 games, to a Knicks team that was not as good as the Celtics team we lost to the year before. And I was very down after the loss. And I was like, man, people are going to be so angry. And they were angry. Obviously, everyone wants us to win. But they were less angry than the year before. And anger is all that drives Sixers fans, as far as I can tell. They were less angry.
Anger and
How about that? Anger is all that drives Sixers fans. Well, you haven't won they haven't got to the conference finals for over 20 years. They haven't gotten to the conference finals for over 20 years. They can't win more than 2 series. What are you talking about? In the Knicks series, he's saying that people said it was one of the best series. I can't even remember it being, whether it was a good series or not. I can't remember people saying that. I mean, what a con man. What a con man. And people should be happy that they got to a Game 7 and lost. You should be happy about that when you had the home court advantage. What the hell are you talking about? I just the way he tries to spin these things is a complete joke. Is a complete joke. And I see somebody here, Joe, doesn't want to talk about the Sixers. Well, they're conning people. How about the season ticket holders? I know a season ticket holder. I don't want to mention his name. He's got tickets. He's near the Sixers tunnel, and he's paying over $400 a game a ticket. The guys on the floor, I think, are paying $2,500 to $3,000 a ticket a game. Now those guys have money, but I mean it's a joke. All right, one other thing I want to deal with in the NBA, because I have not been a fan of LeFraud James, not a fan at all of LeFraud James, and now all he cares about is scoring points, just building up his point total. It's just, and it's unbelievable. Somebody here says McCain's going to be good. But they can't play together. He can score, can't defend. Not right now. He can't defend. But LeFraud James is a fraud. Watch this play, and tell me whether it looks like somebody just hit him over the head with a bat on this play against the Boston Celtics within the last week. Let's play. I mean, watch this. Watch this. Okay, Tatum drives around him. Wait, did he even get touched? I mean, watch this. He gets beat on a move, and now he fakes. Oh my God! He just fakes like he got hit, and it was like somebody took him down with a baseball bat. You got to be kidding me. I mean, this is what this guy is, and he's done it multiple times because he can't defend anymore. He's not in Michael Jordan's class, never was in Michael Jordan's class, never be in the same conversation. It should never be in the same conversation with Michael Jordan. And I'm just going to tell you, it's ridiculous to put him in the conversation with Michael Jordan. I don't think he's top 5 all time in the NBA. All right, we got somebody on the line here. All right, let's go. And this is JPG. Go ahead, JPG.
And they're gone.
It's just, are they afraid?
I don't know.
Well, okay. He's there, but he's not there. He's afraid. You're scared. You're scared to deal with me. You're scared to deal with me. All right, I want to talk about college basketball. I heard Bruce Pearl, who's a good coach. He was caught. I think he was had violations at one of the schools that he was with. But now they can pay players, so it's not a big deal. And they really, it's not a big deal because now you can give players the money. But he said on a recent podcast, I think it was Barkley's podcast, he talked about how great the SEC, the conference is. There'll be 12 teams probably in the tournament. Well, you know why they're great? They're great because they can pay the most money or pay more money or as much money as anybody else. All those schools to compete with each other have to pay the NIL money. And they just keep on paying these guys. I think there should be a rule. I don't want to hear how good the SEC is when you're paying all these players. And that's why the SEC is good, because every school to compete has to pay. They really do have to pay the players. So what I think needs to be done, I think there needs to be, just like their salaries, and it's not a salary, it's name and likeness money. I think it needs to be identified what schools are paying total. I don't know that you have to identify what each player gets, but you have to identify, and then we'll know. Then we will know, why those schools are the best. I see a note here from Ed Shermont. I hope I pronounced that. Love your take, spot on. No one buys the spin. The NBA was a great product. You are right, Ed. They don't know how to fix it. The NFL has it completely over the NBA. There's reasons the NFL is better. First of all, people, it's once a week. For the most part, it's once a week. And people love to bet football. And that's what it comes down to. It's really the gambling. It's just, it's just, the NFL is, quality-wise, they haven't ruined the game. The NBA, the players control the game, and that's why the game is where it is today. I see a comment here that, do you think the Villanova coach, will be back? And then another comment here, teams like Villanova, it was Ted and then Thomas, will not be able to compete, but they have NIL money, but they'll lose a player after a year because if they're good, somebody else will pay them more. It's kind of sad. The state of college sports, I know it's good for the 5 major conferences. It's good when you eliminate the mid-majors and the ones below that. I mean, these conference tournaments are going on this week. They're on TV because it's content for television. But are they really that? Are they really that interesting? It would have been great to see Delaware do something that nobody else has done. Well, and they didn't. They got close, but they didn't. But anyway, I wanted to thank people for joining us tonight. We will be back on Saturday. I got to get. I was going to say I got to get Sapp back on Saturday, and then mute him. That's what I would do. But I love him. I love him. He's an interesting guy, and he was a great player. I'll give you one more comment. JC Sports says LeBron should be fined for his nonsense. He should be. First of all, when you flop, I think it is a fine if you flop. He flopped. It should be a fine. But what's the difference? He's making so much money, like who cares? And the only reason he stayed around is 2 reasons. To add points to his total and to get his son on an NBA team, because his son is not. Bronny is not even close to an NBA player. Thanks again to joining the Howard Eskin Show. Thanks to ABC Tickets. Thanks to Audi Devon. And thanks to the people. Some new and exciting sponsors will be coming up, and we will tell you about them. But thanks to everybody. We'll be back on Saturday morning, live at 8 o'clock. But it lives forever on podcasts on Twitter or X, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Good night, good morning, or whenever you're listening, good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Howard Eskin Show.